Speaking of somebody else who's dealing with some heat, Gilbert Arenas is also dealing with backlash. This is the backlash.
Yeah.
This is the backlash edition of Conscious Approach this week. A lot of people going through backlash. Gilbert Arenas is also experiencing backlash because he is being accused of being xenophobic
Oh.
because he was making fun of the South Sudan team because of how close the game was. So,
Mhm.
Team USA are playing a series of exhibition games to get ready for the Olympics. And one of those exhibition games was against South Sudan. And it was a close game. Team USA almost lost. They won by 1 point. LeBron drove to the basket with like 8 seconds to go in the fourth quarter and ended up securing the game for Team USA. This final score was 101 to 100, I believe. And Gilbert Arenas, being Gilbert Arenas, he's kind of a funny, goofy type guy on the internet. He, was kind of making fun of the South Sudan team. And he was really going at Team USA because he felt like they had no business being in such a close game. But in doing so, he kind of said certain things that got people riled up and up in arms, and they feel like he was being very disrespectful and xenophobic towards South Sudan. So this says Gilbert Arenas criticized for a xenophobic reaction to Team USA and South Sudan game. Gilbert Arenas is facing widespread criticism after making xenophobic remarks in connection with Team USA proceedings. As you've no doubt seen by now, Arenas made the comments in question while reacting to the recent game between Team USA and South Sudan. The former ultimately emerged victorious, though the game was a close one at 101-100. Almost lost to some Africans, Arena said at one point in the clip, making the rounds. Later, Arena said the team almost lost to the Ahi Ahi tribe, calling the situation crazy. He also said that Joel Embiid was goddamn throwing the game for his cousins and shit. At one point, the 1993 film Cool Runnings was referenced. So that's more of Gilbert's quotes there, but as you can see, the reaction was very strong in opposition to what Gilbert had to say. Um, Here is, let's see, some of these reactions. So there are conservative talking heads who put serious man hours into being as racist and possible as possible that don't sniff Gilbert Arenas at 10 a.m. on a Monday. Uh, Gilbert Arenas' ignorance slash xenophobia is truly next level. The insensitive, ignorant, xenophobic, and offensive remarks about the South Sudan basketball team made by former NBA player Gilbert Arenas are completely unacceptable. The disrespect the South Sudan team has faced is truly disturbing and is disgusting. So yeah, people don't like what Gilbert had to say here. Here's another one. Gilbert Arenas is being ignorant and xenophobic for one of three reasons. One, he's just an asshole. Two, he wants clicks and engagement. Three, he's an asshole who wants clicks and engagement. And here, here's another one. Gilbert Arenas is a special type of ignorant, self-hating clown. This is why the European power structure is so successful because it programs people with minds like Gilbert Arenas to exhibit the same type of hate and racist rhetoric for your own people that the oppressors, I'm assuming it goes on to say, used to do for some time. So here is the Gilbert Arenas video. It's a short clip. Here's what Gilbert said. No, not that one. Let's go back up to the original embed.
That's
Uh, yeah,
that's like
so
I hit
this
the
should.
hit the replay button
Well,
again.
I might have to just go to the TikTok and just
Okay.
play it from there. Yeah,
Okay.
because Lord knows if I might try to refresh this tab and it'll crash my computer again. Ain't nobody got time for that. All right, so he's loading up right here, so we'll get right into it.
Mhm.
Um, Once it finishes doing its thing. So
Gilbert,
here we
Gilbert,
go. So
Gilbert.
I'm gonna go ahead and kill this one, and then I'm gonna share the other one.
You. Ahi Ahi tribe. Whoa.
All right, so here's Gilbert going in on how the Americans almost lost to South Sudan. This is what has people everywhere going ham on him, accusing him of xenophobia.
We got the males almost lost to some Africans. Yeah, we almost lost to them. And the king had to save us. I know the haters are mad. We almost lost to the Ahi tribe. This is crazy. Man, Embiid over there, goddamn throwing the game. He throwing the game for his cousins and shit. We're supposed to be losing to air up there. Come on, man. Cool Runnings. We're not supposed to lose to the Cool Runnings team. They don't even have shoes. They get their shoes from America. We got to ship them shoes. They don't even have basketball rims, though. Manupo, I seen he had to walk, an hour and a half to go shoot basketball. We losing to people who don't even, they got baskets in the back. They shooting on fucking peach baskets in dirt, no shoes.
Yeah, so yeah, Gilbert. I think the original article that I pulled up before I closed it out said that Gilbert has not at this point issued an apology, which I thought was kind of funny. Like that's an expectation now is to wait on the apology. I thought that was very funny that the article said that. The article wasn't being funny. I just thought that was funny.
Right.
But what do you make of Gilbert's comments there, and then the reaction to what he had to say? You know, people going in on him that he is.
I mean, I agree
racist, xenophobic, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those comments that were backlashing them. It was ignorant and closed minded ish, asshole-ish, and yeah, ignorant again. I get where he's coming from in the premise of it, but if you don't have, because they was interviewing the coach after the game, and he was like, man, they don't even have indoor courts in their country.
Right. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't even have indoor courts. So, him making fun of the fact that, they play on dirt, with no shoes and shooting on peach basket. Yeah, that's true. And you lose to people that want it. You lose to people that are actually hungry. And those guys prove that they are. And one thing about it, man, basketball is a lot about genetics. All them dudes was 7 feet tall, bro. I said, golly, boy, they all like Durant. It's like a team full of Durants running around there. And they were hitting jumpers, they were doing everything, man. So even though it's whatever, Team USA, hey, I was cheering for those guys. I really wanted them to win that game. And I'm gonna keep that 1,000. So I was proud of them. And once I heard that they've only been independent for like 13 years and they just getting it together like that, the future's bright for them or any other African country, honestly, that want to, pick up basketball and get into it. And, that time and energy used to play, football or soccer. Some of these guys are turning to the basketball court. And I've seen these guys, play full runs and on clay in Africa on TikTok. Like I see there's people out there that's really, I think they know what them checks look like and they're trying to get to the league in America. And so there's a few guys on there on the South Sudan team that are in the league or two, I know two for sure, JT Thor was balling.
Yeah, Jones, he's the G League player of the year or something like that.
Jones, JT Thor and Gabriel. And they were all balling. And so, but those guys would be considered dust in the NBA. And that's the stuff that I don't like. And we had a topic about the NBA before where I was like, hey man, you gotta give some of these guys minutes and opportunity. Because if you do, this guy can average, 15, 8, and 6 if you let him. But you only give him 5 minutes off the bench. Only when somebody is load managing. So you don't know if he can really hoop or not, or nobody knows they can really hoop or not. But what happens during this international play is those guys that be on the end of the bench that are internationals, when they're playing for their team, they be dropping 30, going crazy, and beating the US or giving them everything they can handle by themselves. So when you have these all world athletes that's supposed to be greater than the dream team, it's laughable. But they can play and spin the narrative of the world has gotten better, which it has. But if the world has gotten better, but we've always been good and we've had the head start, we should be still better, like laughably better. But I think there's something missing with today's basketball. And I think it shows when we play internationals who are hungry, guys who actually want it versus guys who feel like they only have to just show up and lace them up because they're just that nice. And I think that's what happened, and they got humbled. So as far as what Gil was saying, yeah, that's how you lose to guys. That's how you lose to guys who play on sand, is that they're actually hungry. And as far as the xenophobic angle, man, he's just being, typical middle school ignorant. We used to joke like that when we was in elementary school, man. Like, then I grew up and realized how insensitive that was. And then you don't move like that. You don't talk about a group of people that can't change them circumstance like that. But for him to think that that's funny that they don't even have shoes, that we have to send them shoes, that just shows how out of touch that he is, really. So yeah, man, tisk on him on that. But he's been doubling down. There's been people calling him out, and he be in a comment section going live saying, "You air up there." We almost lost the air up there. So he's still doubling down. So Gil's just being him, the internet personality. But I don't like it. Yeah, he is. I don't stand for that. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Sir Gil and his xenophobic rant in air quotes? Do you buy that, or you feel like he was just, tongue in cheek?
I buy that. I buy that. The criticism that he's receiving is justifiable. I do. I'm not mad at that, but I'm also of the belief that when he was saying that, he didn't even know what he was doing. Like,
He's that oblivious.
bro, Gilbert is not really like a worldly guy like that.
Yeah.
Like if God rest his soul, if Kobe had done this, it would be far more egregious to me,
Oh
because
yeah.
Kobe was like worldly and spoke different languages, and he kind of knew stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Studied really. Gilbert doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Gilbert probably doesn't even know what the word xenophobia means.
True.
That may sound like an insult. I'm just saying the guy very well may not even know what xenophobic means. So when he was doing that, he didn't even know what he was doing, because
Mhm.
he's just an internet troll. Like, if you watch Gilbert's show, he spends a lot of time trolling.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time talking about, Instagram models, players getting caught up with thoughts, sex workers, strippers, so on and so forth. They put people on there like what's the guy who he played for UNC? Oh,
Oh,
what's his name?
McCants.
Yeah,
McCants.
Rashad McCants. There you go. They got people like him and Brandon Jennings on there. And the stuff that they be talking about is like real low hanging fruit. So, yeah, the criticism in terms of like, you know, kind of teaching him a lesson from a
Yeah.
social media troll standpoint of, hey, man, this is not going to fly.
Mhm.
That's is something that's worth its salt,
Mhm.
granted. But in terms of reprimanding him in a disciplinary fashion, there's nothing that's going to be done there, because he's Gilbert and Gilbert does this stuff. Gilbert is a former player turned troll. Like,
Mhm.
that's what he does with his show. He trolls current players, former players, people around the situation. That's just kind of what he does. So he's kind of playing the part. Gilbert reminds me. Gilbert reminds me of the comedian who used to do stand up 10 years ago, and the jokes were funny and people would clap. And if he were to try to do that same stand up routine today, he'd get booed off stage for being inappropriate. And
Mhm.
he just doesn't understand how to adapt his comedy to a more politically correct climate. He strikes me as one of those people. He just doesn't know how to adapt in that way. He's just going to be that way for forever, for as long as he is a media personality, because he just trolls. If he would have not been so comedic with what he said and just would have been analyzing it from a basketball standpoint, like just kind of reasonably saying, I feel like we should have beat them by 40 because in terms of resources and infrastructure, they're nowhere near what we got going on.
Correct.
They don't have any indoor facilities. They don't really have the means to have their own shoes. Their equipment is subpar. They play outside on peach baskets. Like if he would have just not used the racial undertones, the spitballing and the ahi
Yeah,
and the
that was
cool
too
running
much
stuff.
too, man.
Like he took it over the top with that. But that's what shock jocks do.
Yeah.
Howard Stern style. What's the guy? Don Amos, the guy who said
Don
nappy-headed
Imus.
hoes.
Yeah.
Don Imus, there you go. The nappy-headed hoes guy. That's what they do. They put a little extra oomph in there for shock value. As far as I'm concerned, Gilbert Arenas is a shock jock.
Unbelievable.
He's an NBA podcast shock jock.
Unbelievable.
So he is someone who ought not to be taken seriously when it comes to comments like that, albeit I do understand the pragmatism behind the public reprimand. So I'm not shading it either way. I'm just saying it's not like he's a political scientist or something. He's just a former player who now has a podcast. So it is what it is. But, I don't really have a basketball take with this, but I will say that, Team USA, and this is why I balk at the idea, because people are saying that this is the most talented team ever. Like it's better than 92 and it's better than 2008. I think the names on paper suggest that may be true. But in terms of the way that they play together, the fit, I don't think that this team is better than the Dream Team, nor do I think that it's better than the team in 2008. I think the only team that can compete with the 92 Dream Team is the team in 2008 because you still had a prime Kobe and you had people who knew how to play from a IQ standpoint who come from the old school of playing the game the right way from a fundamental standpoint. Bosh, Wade, LeBron, people like that. Even Carmelo. Now you got Jason Tatum, people like Tatum, Devin Booker. These are the new age AAU basketball: dribble, sidestep, pull up, three, step back. These are those guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those guys don't really lend themselves towards fundamentally sound team basketball. So yeah, the team is going to have some bumps and bruises, but I expect fundamental. Like from a fundamental standpoint, I think that just off of the strength of the talent alone, they're going to win. I don't see a team beating them necessarily. It's just every game's not going to be a blowout. And if you go back and look at them Dream Team numbers, they were blowing people out by 60 points. Like, and that's what I'm not trying to go on and on.
Right.
But people really need to go and do some research. Fact check yourself before you want to wholly believe in what these people on TV are telling you that this is the best team ever. Because thus far, in terms of point differential, this team is not even close to the Dream Team. No. The Dream Team, they were blowing people out by 50, 60 points every game. And those weren't prelims. That was the Olympics.
Right.
So we'll see what happens when the actual games that count start. But if these games are a difference of 10 points, 12 points, 15 points, 8 points, don't come to me with they're better than the Dream Team. Oh, but the world is caught up and the world is better. I don't want to hear that.
That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to say.
I know that that's what they're going to say, but that is not enough to explain the difference between 50, 60 point blowouts and 10 point blowouts. I don't want to hear that. So y'all can have your fun with trying to throw that down my throat. That's another LeBron argument. This is the best dream. This is the best team ever, and all of this other stuff. Whatever. I think 2008 is better than this team, and I think 2000, and I of course think 92 is better from a fit and fundamental standpoint. The AAU, modern day Nike league, no fundamental, just drills upon drills upon drills player may not necessarily be suited for Olympic play, which is why I didn't blame Grant Hill for replacing Kawhi Leonard with Derek White, because maybe from a talent standpoint, Jaylen Brown should be on the team.
Right.
But we're looking, it's about, these teams are fundamental you to death.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll get out there and they'll shoot the lights out. They'll hit you with them fundamentals. They'll get you on a low block. The court is smaller, so the 3-point shot isn't as deadly as it is in the NBA game. So it's like, you want to have a team who checks every box: skills, size, strength, speed, athleticism, as well as fundamentals and IQ. So we'll see what happens when the real games start. But I don't think that this team thus far has given me any indication that it's better than '08 or 92. But to take it back to Gilbert Arenas, he's a troll. Was he being xenophobic and inappropriate? Sure. But what are you going to do? Cancel Howard Stern? That's his place in this ecosystem, to be Mr. Inappropriate shock jock guy, to just get his attention off of shock value.
Yep, 1,000, and that's a good comp, man. I knew that in the recesses of my mind, but for you to put it like that, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what he's doing, and he knows that. That's why even on his platform, when he's podcasting or whatever, it's a real sensible debate at points, and then it just gets into these shouting matches.
Yeah,
that's like, look, I don't have time for this. First of all, this debate was already going off the rails when y'all were calm. I don't want to hear this when y'all yelling. So, but people check in for that. I be seeing laughs in the emoji, people rolling. They think this is great content. So he leans into that, and the internet is perfect for Gilbert. This is a perfect playground for him, and he's having a ball with it. So yeah, man, I agree with you. This is nothing to this guy. He will continue to do more of this. And again, man, you can't cancel somebody that don't see themselves as being cancelable.
That has already canceled themselves. Correct.
So he don't care. Yeah, man. But shout out to South Sudan, man. Very proud of those guys for putting up a valiant effort and looking the part. They were playing very well out there. So shout out to them.
Yeah, and they wanted it, man. They wanted it. What's up, Ray from Flint, man? Shouts out to you as well. Salute, brother. He chimed in on the chat. He says salute to you all. Salute to you as well, brother. Appreciate you a lot, man. But yeah, Gilbert's a shock jock, bro. He's a shock jock. So he's going to do shock jockey things, and then the internet is going to do what the internet does and responds, because the internet always needs their retribution.
Yeah.
There's always need to be, we always need to call out the racists and the phobics and the sexist. At all points in between, they always need to be called out. So we almost do it mechanically nowadays. It's like, it's a mechanic reaction now. Like, oh, racism, let's respond. Let's talk about it. So it is what it is. But shouts out to Gilbert. He has a place in this thing. I don't watch his show because they don't be saying nothing. Right. But I understand that it does have its place. So it is what it is.